The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Step outside of your comfort zone. See the world with a whole new perspective. Join us and experience the unexplained on the Paranormal View.
And welcome everybody right here to the Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network. I want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight in the chat room to listen to the show. Of course, we always love to have everybody come in and listen. I know it's been a pretty nice day in a lot of places today, so people's probably still out doing barbecuing and running around and doing everything, but I'm sure that the chat room will fill up nicely in just a little bit.
And the Olympics are on.
Yeah, the Olympics are on, but it's raining cats and dogs here in New England.
Oh, is it? Really?
Yeah. So if my Skype gets wonky, now we know why.
Oh, I haven't seen rain here for over a week and a half, and everything here's died. I cut the grass now. I don't have to worry about it no more for a while, period. So, but with that, if you're listening from somewhere else other than here on ParaX and you'd like to come over, feel free to come over to para-x.com and click on the live chat button, and you'll be in with all these wonderful people. You can interact with them, interact with us. Let's see, because we do have listeners from all around the world, and we appreciate each and every one of you. If tonight you have questions, you can private chat them to either Ceiling Cat, Jeffrey Gould, or Cat co-host, and we will get those questions answered for you. Also, if you're somewhere else and you do have questions, you can send them to the paranormalview@gmail.com. Just put question, and Kat will be able to get that to us. And we have other ways also, don't we, Kat?
Right when I muted the microphone. Yes, you can also message us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Paranormal View, and also on Twitter at Paraview Radio. And you just said email, so we're covered.
All right. And just in case you guys don't know it, Kat is back with us this week.
Is that what I am?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Kat is with us. And we have Barbara Duncan.
Yep.
As soon as she unmutes her mic. And we have Jeffrey Gould.
Hello, hello.
And we are ready to rock and roll tonight because we got a lot of exciting, well, I should say Kat's got a lot of exciting stories to tell, because you heard most of mine last week if you was listening to the show from Mr. G's, because we was telling everything from Gettysburg then. So, but yeah, we still got lots of good stuff to talk about though. So where was all the places that you went to?
Oh, let's see. I was in various parts of Rhode Island and Massachusetts. The southern point of Rhode Island, actually, and the northern point of Massachusetts, almost to New Hampshire. So, the first place was Smith's Castle, which is one of the oldest homes in Rhode Island. And the second was two locations for the Legend Trips event. It was the Murdock-Whitney House and the Isaac Moore's house. And those are in Winchendon, Massachusetts. So, one place was only 5 minutes away from my house, and the other one was 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that you've got a lot of nice little tales to tell.
I do. It was fun. And I actually have a video that I guess would be the world premiere of it during our show.
Okay. And you'll be able to tell people where to go to see that at?
Yes.
Now, did you need to run and do something real quick?
I do. So I was going to say, why don't you, for our listeners who weren't with you last week, do a highlight of what happened in Gettysburg?
Okay.
And what event you were at?
Okay. We were, or I was, at the Gettysburg Paranormal Gathering, or it was at the David Stewart farm. And believe it or not, there was quite a few vendors and quite a few guests that came. It did rain off and on, and sometimes come down pretty good. So when it was raining pretty hard, everybody was getting underneath the little canopies that everybody had around their tables. And so it would only last maybe 5-10 minutes, and then it would kind of slow up or even stop for maybe 15-20 minutes or so. There's a couple times I was trying to take pictures. I'd grab my camera when it stopped raining and run around, start to take pictures, and no sooner did I get started, it would start raining again, so I'd run back. So I didn't get as many pictures taken as I really would have liked to. And the event lasted until about 4, but I only stayed till about 1:32, somewhere around in there, because it was kind of slowing up a little bit, and it looked like more rain was coming. So I didn't want to get caught trying to break everything down in the rain. So I had Cat Gasch with me. She was sharing my little tent, you might say, or canopy, and she helped me get everything took down, and we got it put away. The people there was real nice. They all helped me put that thing up. And believe it or not, it does take 4 people to put one of them canopies up. I don't care what they say. You can't do it by yourself. Because I got a 10 by 10, and my arms don't stretch 10 by 10.
So now, which kind of, is this one of those expandable canopies, or does it have expandable legs?
Well, the legs will come out too, but the whole thing just comes out, and then you have your canopy on top of it, and then you put the little ties on it, and then when you raise it all the way up with the legs and all,
so it's like one of the framework things with a little fabric roof?
Yep.
Like what you see at art festivals?
Yep.
Yeah,
I have one of those too, but I'm able to put it up by myself.
Yeah,
yours is a 10 by 10?
People on film shoots.
Well, yours is a 10 by 10?
Yes.
I bought mine over at the sporting goods store, and it does take 4 people to spread it out and push it up. So
I bought mine at Amazon.
Yeah, well. What'd you pay for yours?
I'm not going to share that on the radio right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much. It was reasonably priced. Well, it was under $100.
Mine was $49.
Yeah.
So they were on sale.
Oh,
very
nice.
much on sale.
Yeah.
If it was
very much on sale.
Yeah. So I scarfed it up real quick. It was at Dick's Sporting Goods. So
you ate it as well.
Well, that would cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So anyway, we did that. We was there, I don't know, I hadn't been there too long, and noticed I'll think of his name eventually. But I looked up, Carrie had come up. She didn't get there till after we had everything set up. She only stayed for a while because she had to go back over to her home. But I was looking, and standing there at the end of my little tent thing talking to Kat was one of the guys that's on Shepherdstown, the Ghost of Shepherdstown. He was there talking to her, and the police chief of Shepherdstown was there. So they stood there and talked for, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen that show.
Well, I won't say anything.
I don't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I'll share the stories later, but yeah, I don't watch a lot of Paranormal Network TV because I don't have cable. And a lot of the shows you have to pay to watch online, and it's ridiculous amounts.
Really?
It's $2.99 an episode.
You have to pay to watch it online?
Yes, you do. Some of them you can some of them are free, like they'll have 2 or 3 free episodes.
Oh.
But the Dead Files have a bunch of free episodes. But some of the other ones, especially the ones on Destination America, yeah, you're paying $1 or $2.99 a pop.
Wow.
And I'm like, even with like an Amazon Prime membership like what I have, I would still have to pay. So I don't watch them.
Wow.
And that took the wind out of many people's sails when I told them that at the Ocean State Paracon.
Wow. Yeah.
They're like, "Aren't you familiar with XYZ?" And I'm like, "Nope, I've never watched it." Or they're like, "Do you know me from this horror movie?" And I'm like, "I don't watch horror movies." And
I probably would have at least recognized the title.
Yeah, but it was just... I won't say it was funny. I kind of felt bad, but it was everything that this particular person had done, I have never watched because it's in a genre that I don't particularly like. So he's sitting there expressing all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm completely unfamiliar with everything you've done.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So what was the person's name?
I am not going to say.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, man.
He was a very nice person. I look forward to speaking with him in the future, but it was sort of embarrassing. So, for him.
Well,
and,
he already knows you don't know who he is, so it's not like you're going to embarrass him anymore. I mean, there have been actors, I mean, remember, we had Keith Age on, and up until he was on the show, I had not heard of him. I knew the Booth Brothers, but I didn't know who Keith Age was, and everybody made fun of me.
Keith Age, matter of fact, I got a book that he wrote. Had some really nice stories in it, and he was one of the first ones to go in to actually investigate
Waverly Hills.
Waverly, yeah.
Was he at the Gettysburg event?
No, he was not over there.
Okay. I
did not see him over there. But he was one of the first ones to go in there, and he said there'd all of a sudden be chunks of concrete and stuff being thrown at him.
Throwed?
Yeah, thrown at him.
Throwed.
Yeah.
Thrown.
Okay, ever how you people want to say it.
The game of Thrones.
The game of Thrones.
Wow.
You guys ain't right. I just hope you know I had to put up with that all weekend too. So.
And thank you, Cat Gash, and thank you, Carrie.
Yes.
Doing it in my stead.
I was double teamed. Yes, all week. And
then, I saw the video that she had with her iPhone before the show, like just before the show went on, and you waving at the camera and everything.
That wasn't Cat or Carrie.
No, no, it was the guest you had on.
Right, Gina Bingston.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's real funny to talk to because she's got that Boston accent.
Welcome to my world.
Oh, Craig was just dying laughing at her. Craig did a wonderful job. I'm glad that he filled in. He was also very helpful going around the battlefield. We didn't get to do much on Friday. Everybody didn't get there till kind of late, and Craig didn't get up to meet up with us till, I don't know, it was 6 or so, and then we went to dinner. They got a new restaurant right across the street from the Quality Inn Hotel now. We went in there to eat. Food wasn't too bad.
Was this the pub?
It was a pub. I forget what the whole name of it is, but they had pretty good menus. So, and
that's good.
The prices wasn't bad at all. So,
well, that's good.
So, but anyway, we went out a little bit out on the battlefield Friday evening. Went up on a little round top, watched sunset. I posted some photos of all that.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Well,
we need to put them up on our actual Paranormal View website.
Okay.
Yeah. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I'll have to get somebody who takes care of the website. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, just
the
send them over.
photos first.
Yeah,
hint,
really.
hint, nudge, nudge.
Oh, okay. I guess I can send those to you.
Or to me. I mean,
Yeah, either one of us.
Oh, well, yeah. Either one, I guess, can put them up.
It's like hint, hint, nudge, nudge, whack with plastic chicken.
just throwed something at him.
Throwed. Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna throw something. Oh man.
I notice Cece's awful quiet tonight. I don't know why. We haven't started telling too much of the story, so you can talk right now.
I'm staying out of this.
No, we had a wonderful time. Cat Gasch was great. Carrie was great. She come over. We had a good time just sitting around talking. And Craig was there. Then after that, we went over to McClellan's house. And it was pretty well dark by then. We went up to his house, though, or to the house where his headquarters was, and was asking some questions, see if the woman who owned the house was still there. She had kids. They say that a lot of times they get voices from the house from her and different things like that. We were outside, of course, couldn't go in, and talking. And all of a sudden, Kat and Carrie says, that was a gunshot. I did not hear it. They did, and I picked it up on the recorder. Matter of fact, I had two recorders going. It picked it up on both of them, I believe. No, picked it up on one of them. I only had one recorder going. And it was faint, but you can hear it. Maybe a little bit later I'll see if I can play it, and you might be able to pick it out. The week before, and I think I played that for everybody. Maybe I didn't. We were out at the Preble County Historical Society, just me and Carrie and the caretaker out there. We were out in the barn, and it was in the evening, about 7:30, something like that, close to 8. And it has a tin roof, so from the heat of the day, it was just popping. Sounded like 40,000 birds up on the roof running around. We kept thinking that in the far end of the barn, which had a loft that was, you could see plain, it wasn't anything up there. We kept hearing what we thought was noises in that end of the barn. And we thought we heard some movement and stuff, but of course you couldn't with all the popping and cracking. And all of a sudden, all of it just stopped. Totally death quiet. You could hear a pin drop if somebody had dropped one. And I asked a question. I says, we thought we heard you there. Can you walk across the loft? And all of a sudden you hear something start walking across the loft up there. It got about halfway across, and all of a sudden sounded like 10,000 birds up on the roof again. I have no idea what would cause that or why it would be like that, stop and then start back up. But you could hear something walk across the loft. I thought it was pretty neat. You couldn't see anything, but we picked that up. In the house, again, I had a recorder in the blue room, and it did pick up the voice calling my name, Henry. So
That's always creepy.
Yep.
Did you hear it, or was it just
no,
on
I
the
did
recorder?
not hear it. It was just on the recorder. So
Yeah.
I will play those a little bit later when we get ready to play some audio and stuff, and see how things go. So
Yeah.
I know you're back now. We got about 10 minutes before we take a break. So
Yeah.
why don't you was with Jeff Belanger, wasn't you?
Yeah, but first I was with Ken DaCosta at the Smith's Castle.
Okay.
That was a few weeks ago. Because I don't think I talked about Smith's Castle at all, did I?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so for those playing at home, you can go to my website, which is huntforghost.com, and you can find there's an entire blog post about Smith's Castle and the 2016 Ocean State Paracon. And I don't think I really talked about the Paracon at all, did I? No,
No.
because I've been in and out all week. July has been very, very busy. So Smith's Castle is an interesting place. It is not a castle. I know I went in kind of like we read about like Loveland Castle in Ohio, and you think immediately of this cobblestone building. And Smith's Castle isn't like that at all. Originally, it started out as a log cabin trading post back in the 1630s. It was built as built by Roger Williams, who's the founder of Rhode Island, and he was also a student of native languages. So he was able to communicate with the Wampanoag, Narragansett, and Niantic tribes here in Rhode Island. And he set up this trading post. What he had done was he had negotiated for land from the Narragansett tribe and set up the trading post, and then he traded with the tribe, and the tribe had most of Rhode Island land at the time. And during the Great Swamp War and King Philip's War of the late 1600s, it was burnt down, and this new house, Smith's Castle, was built in it instead in 78 by Richard Smith Jr. And originally it was a New England salt box style house, which is that quintessential salt box house. And it had 2 floors, and then what it would have is in the back at the kitchen area would be a slanted roof down to the first floor, and that's what a salt box is, with an architecture style. And later in the 1740s, it was extensively remodeled into the current 2-story colonial style house that you see today. And it was fortified, heavily fortified. There was a stockade fence built all around it, and that's why it was actually called a castle, because it was a shelter area if there was any attacks happening that the locals could run to. It was also a plantation, a northern plantation, and I know it's something that a lot of people kind of forget, that Rhode Island and New York State and Massachusetts and all these New England states at one time, slavery was a thing, and there were plantations. They may have gotten rid of them sooner and freed the men and women, but it existed, and Smith's Castle was a northern plantation back in the 1700s. They were actually a dairy farm and a stock cattle farm, and they exported a bunch of cheese and milk and a few other odds and ends out of the farm. It was 3,000 acres at one point. Now Smith's Castle Museum is only 10 acres big, but they still own an island, actually, in one of the coves here in Rhode Island. And it's called Rabbit Island. You can find it on a map. But because of the wars, there are actually 40 soldiers buried on the property, not too far from the house, actually, that are soldiers who died during the King Philip's War, which happened between 1675 and 1678. We don't know when the soldiers died, though it's suspected after the Great Swamp War. And we also had one of the first guilty verdicts for treason was held on the property in 36. Or was it 1636?
So
1676.
before,
1676.
Certainly before Benedict Arnold, I guess.
Yes. So guess what they did to this trader who fought with the Native American tribes during the Great Swamp War? What do you think they did?
Oh, he fought with the Indians against...
Yeah, against the settlers. Sorry,
so I'm guessing it would be...
And I get kind of...
I would guess it's something more creative than just hanging then, if you...
Yes, it was very creative. It was very medieval.
Tar and feathering?
Mm-mm. But you're on the right track.
Pressing? Did they... Well, I don't think they ever burned anybody at the stake in America.
No, not in America.
That was all in Europe. Did they boil him or drown him or?
So what happened was that Joshua Teft, who was an English colonist, was found guilty of treason for fighting with the Narragansett tribe during the Great Swamp War in 1676. What the colonial authority did was they hanged, drawn, and quartered him.
Well, that's very European, yeah.
It's very European. It is the only official record of this type of execution being done in America. And it happened on the property where Smith's Castle is built on. We don't know where Joshua's buried. We don't know if he's buried on the property or if he was taken somewhere else. We don't know where the stockades or anything would have been placed, but it is there is an archaeological dig going on the property, so maybe they'll find out someday. But it's interesting, there's no monument or anything to it. It's just one of those, if you're reading a book and you look for Smith's Castle, it's one of those, oh, by the way, the only American to be hanged, drawn, and quartered, or the only person to be hanged, drawn, and quartered on American soil was here. So, since I like dark and grim things, I found that fascinating. But, so, okay. And if you remember a few weeks ago, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts all in order.
I like the fact he spelled his name with 2 F's.
I know! Isn't that fun? The spellings. So, a few weeks ago, before we had Ohio State Paracon, we had Andrea Perrin on, and I'm getting feedback now.
Yeah, I just heard that.
I didn't hear it. Oh.
Yeah, I did. I don't know what's causing it, but
it's so trippy. At any rate, so Andrea had requested that I meet her at Smith's Castle, and she arrived and a little bit later in the evening, and it was interesting that we picked up on the same person in the building, but what was more interesting was that her camera woman and I ran into the same apparition, but at different times of the day while there.
Were you there during the daytime or was it night?
It was, I think the event started around 6 or 7 p.m. I had gotten there a little early, and the people who ran the investigation were very relaxed with it. They didn't break us up into little groups and then switch us every hour. We kind of broke ourselves up into little groups as we saw fit and roamed around as we would like to, kind of respecting the other groups. And it was interesting. Some people went outside to speak to the soldiers, and then myself, I actually hung out with Andrea Perrin most of the evening and her group. But, so earlier in the day, the evening before the event started, I was taking photos. I was just walking around taking photos, because photographs just look better with daylight, and they look fantastic at sunset. And so I'm walking through the master bedroom, which is known as the green room, and there are artifacts all over the place. A lot of it's been donated now from homes that existed at the same time as Smith's Castle but have been torn down, or families have donated the pieces of furniture just to the museum. One of them is a 4-poster canopy bed. It's in the green room. I walk in, and I am met with a man who has dark hair that is nearly going salt and pepper, so it's a dark brown, and he's in his nightshirt with the covers pulled up to his chest, and I had clearly walked in on him while he was, like, reading in bed, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and my answer was, "Hi, it's me, I'm Kat." And I just walked through the room. And this was something around 6 p.m. So, daylight still, and I walk in, and there's this apparition in the bed. Apparently, and I feel bad because I don't remember the woman's name, but when she was doing the walkthrough a little bit later in the evening, she also ran into the same apparition sitting in the bed. And it wasn't a time slip. I knew I was in contemporary time, but I just she walked in and saw the same man in the same bed, looking shocked that somebody else had walked in on him.
So he was a gassed ghost.
Yeah, he was a guest ghost, basically.
No, he was aghast. That
Oh
you were
yeah,
walking
aghast.
past him.
Oh yeah, yeah. The feeling I get from that entire house is because there are so many artifacts that have clearly been donated but don't belong. You get a feeling of, one, there's a lot of spirits attached to them, like that bed, and two, a lot of feelings of things not being in the right place. And the person who is saying that or giving that kind of emotion out is one of the former residents of Smith's Castle. And it's basically the former lady of the house. I don't know who she was, but she was in her late 40s to me. And I had seen her staring out the window when I first pulled up into the driveway. And she just stared at me as I took photos outside. And I wasn't sure if she was a ghost. I was pretty sure she was a ghost, but she could have also been a human. So when I walked inside, I was like, is anyone in that room? Were they looking at me? And the room was not locked off, but blocked off because of all the camera equipment that was stored in there. People couldn't just walk in. And it turned out just to be an extra pantry room. But I picked up on her, and so did Andrea Perrin, and I believe Andrea and I both saw her apparition appear in a doorway when we were in the pantry room. She was a very strong woman. She was very unhappy that all of us were visiting. There was too many people, too many guests at one time for this particular spirit, and she was not at all happy that so many people were there. But it was definitely her house, and she didn't like all the artifacts that didn't belong in the house. And not only that, but beds weren't put in the right place, like the master bed. It's up against a wall with its headboard on the southern side of the wall, but she wants it on the eastern wall. It was very interesting walking through and picking up on basically what she was trying to articulate psychically, I guess.
Kind of a ghostly feng shui, apparently.
Yeah, ghostly feng. She was very mad that things weren't put in the right place. Like pots and pans weren't in the right place, and everything's just on display because it's a working museum. And there's a giant loom in one of the rooms, and she's just like, this doesn't belong here. And there's a bed in another room, and she's like, this isn't in the right place. And it's interesting, they have basically mattresses, like huge beanbag type mattresses on the floor of one of these rooms, and it's showing what kind of beds kids would kind of sleep on. They weren't raised beds like what we normally sleep on. They were on the floor, kind of like a Japanese futon mattress would be, and this is what kids would sleep on. And they have them all over the room, and I can just hear her in my head saying, this is all messed up. Why didn't they put anything away? Why are these still out? They shouldn't be out. Everyone's walking on them. And it was just very interesting. Fascinating walking through that house because it's seen so much. So many people have died. So many people have been born there. And to have such a chatty hostess was interesting.
Well, did you run any EVPs during the time?
I did, and I ran two digital recorders. One of them is my handy dandy. I think it's an Olympus, okay. And I can't find it. For our listeners,
that's just so you know, that's normal with cats.
It's very normal. The thing is, I had it on my kitchen counter. I keep it in one place. And so when I need it, I can just go and reach for it and get the audio. I haven't even gotten the audio off of this recorder yet. And I knew it was on the kitchen counter, and I go to pick it up, and it's gone. And I ask Mike, I go, have you seen the recorder? And he goes, nope. And I'm like, well, it has been taken somewhere again. It will show up anywhere between a few days to a week to months from now. And then I do have a second recorder, and it's the first time I was using it. It's a Panasonic RRQR80, which is a cousin to the Panasonic that Pat and Doug use, which is that really popular one.
Right.
It gets all the EVPs. It works exactly the same. It was just made a little bit later. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a digital output. So I have to basically record it next to a microphone to record everything off of it.
Does it have a little SIM card in it that you can take out and...
No, this was released back in 1998.
Oh, and yeah, they don't even have a plug that you can plug
Nope.
into it. Yeah.
And I am like, okay, well, we're going not old school, but 90s. And yeah, so I have 2 hours. I filled it up. 2 hours is the maximum that it can hold. I have 2 hours of audio, and I look forward to hearing it. I haven't listened to it yet.
That's when you find it, though.
Yeah, that's when I find it. But I'm excited to use it because I know Pat and Doug have so much success with theirs. So
with that, I think what we will do is take a break. And I believe Barbara will take us out and Kat will bring us back. How does that sound? So we will be back shortly. So, Barbara, you get to do something.
Yeah, you're listening to the Paranormal View here on Para-X Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a few messages.
All right.
From the author of the Ghost of Hollywood series and Workplace Spells comes a book for all lovers of pets. Animal Spells and Magic by Marla Brooks. Learn how to choose your next pet according to their astrological sign. Explore animal superstitions. Learn 25 magic spells for your pets and get instructions on creating your own spells. Learn who to call upon and what to use to cast these spells. Includes special chapters by Reverend Tim Shaw, Psychic to the Stars Kenny Kingston, Psychic Medium Victoria Gross, Animal Communicator Dinah Roseberry, and Shaman Willie Windwalker Gibson. This is the perfect book for all animal lovers. Animal Spells and Magic by Marla Brooks. For details on how to get your copy of this amazing new book, go to www.schifferbooks.com or check out Marla Brooks online at www.marlabrooks.com. This would make the perfect gift for the animal lover in your life. Go to www.schifferbooks.com or ask about it at your local bookstore.
So, Tim, around here at Para-X, we're considered oldies because we've been here so long, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with oldies. In fact, you know what? I really love oldies.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, it kind of takes me back to a time when my cauldron had training wheels and the Black Cat Lounge was called the Black Kitten Lounge. Sometimes I miss the good old days.
Sis, there's no need to miss them at all, because all you have to do is turn on and listen to Rock with the Shock.
Rock with the Who?
No, little sis. No, not the Who. The Shock.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Bound, and you are listening to The Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network.
My name is Greg Bakken. I'm a writer, a producer, and a paranormal investigator. My favorite way of communicating with spirits is through using the spirit box, also known as a ghost box. I invite you to listen to me every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central for interviews with people in the paranormal community and beyond. Plus, I will also include as much of my spirit box evidence as I can during my show. My name is Greg. Can you say Greg? Can you say Jeff? Greg. Jeff. Join me every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central Time for Minnesota Ghost Box, only on Para-X Radio.
I found it at last! Marla's Sacred Cauldron. This is the legendary artifact that has been whispered about in hushed tones for hundreds of years, and now it's mine! All mine!
Who dares defile the sanctity of my castle walls? Step away from the cauldron, you impertinent, muddy-mettled maltworm.
Never! I've spent half my lifetime trying to discover your age-old secret of stirring the cauldron.
Oh, for Merlin's sake, that's no deep, dark secret. Just tune into the Para X Radio Network Thursday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern for more cauldron stirring than you can shake a wand at.
Oh, well, in that case, I guess I don't need to take up any more of your time, so I guess I'll be going.
Not just yet. We've got a little unfinished business to take care of.
That's Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Para X Radio Network.
Hi, this is Mike from Mr. G's Ice Cream Store in Gettysburg, the most haunted ice cream store in town. Stop in and see us next time you're around. We feature 16 flavors of homemade ice cream made right here in the store. Look forward to seeing you.
There's a darkness in the hallway. Voices that seem to come from nowhere. Alone at night, there is a feeling that something or someone is near. Where can you go? Who can you turn to? Para X Radio and the all-new Para X Vision can help. Our knowledgeable host and expert guest can help you find some answers and take a glimpse into the unknown. Para X Radio and Para X Vision, programming for the open mind.
Para X Radio presents Real Persons of Genius.
Real Persons of Genius.
Today, we salute you, Mr. and Mrs. Para X Show hosts.
Mr. and Mrs. Para X Show hosts.
Armed with nothing more than a laptop and a microphone, you hit the air to scare the bejesus out of your audience.
What the hell was that noise?
Like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, you always whet our appetite for more.
I just can't get enough.
Whether it's witches, ghosts, fairies, or Bigfoot, we admire your ability to set aside reality and believe anything anyone tells you.
Seek professional help.
So the next time you're kneeling in front of your 8x10 glossy of Dave and Tom lighting a candle, remember, if it wasn't for you, I might be able to sleep without the lights on.
Mr. and Mrs. Para X Show hosts.
Para X Radio Network, powered by CBS.
And hello and welcome to the Paranormal View. This is Kat Cloco. I am joined by Henry Foister, Jeffrey Gould, and Barbara Duncan. Tonight we are talking about the investigations we have all been on for like the past month. Welcome back, guys.
I'm looking at your website a bit, and I'm looking at the H.P. Lovecraft grave. I guess it's not surprising people would leave little offerings and tributes and such. And it didn't even occur to me. I was like, oh yeah, dice, gaming dice, because he's got Call of Cthulhu game and is a role-playing game and all that.
Right. Yeah, that's where I think the dice come in. Yeah. And from what people actually, I think it's a Tumblr account, or at least an Imager account, where people track what kind of gifts get left at the site.
Oh wow!
And it will change. I think the groundspeople clear it about once a month. So there's a lot of change that's given onto the headstones that are left on the headstones. Pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters. Lots of quarters on Lovecraft's actual headstone, and then they'll leave pennies and nickels on the rest of the family headstones. The other interesting thing that's interesting. Wow, I'm a writer, I swear. is that the headstone that actually has his name on it is not where he's buried, but he's not buried too far away. He's only 1 foot away, underneath the obelisk with the rest of his family. When he actually died in 1937, his family had him buried with the rest of the family, and there's a large obelisk to the family, and I am forgetting what his mother's maiden name was. Let me look it up real quick. It's on my website. But he's buried he's buried with them. But the new headstone that was erected around 1977 is directly behind that obelisk. So it is the Phillips family obelisk. He's buried actually there. His name is just known as Howard P. Lovecraft, and it's written on the back, but it faces the brand new headstone that everyone leaves offerings at. So they look at each other, the two, the actual gravestone and the fan purchased one. So basically, if you're standing at the headstone looking at it directly, you're basically standing on Lovecraft.
You're standing on him,
about that.
Yeah. And he is buried at Swan Point Cemetery in Providence, Rhode Island. Very beautiful cemetery, open from dusk to dawn.
And he'd probably be hollering like the Rolling Stones.
No, he'd be calling like Cthulhu.
No, it'd be like Rolling Stones. Instead of get off my cloud, it'd be get off my grave. Yeah.
Henry's not familiar with Lovecraft, is he, Jeff?
No, he isn't. But he also, he was, what Henry was going for was, hey, you dang kids, get off my grave.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what he was going for.
Hey,
just sort of,
you get off of my cloud, like that.
except that reference was kind of lost on.
Oh, well. If you're an old like me, oh well.
But, cat is poking at me.
No, I'm not.
No, my cat, Sprite, is trying to get my attention. She woke up from her little nap.
So, where did you go after the first adventure, you might say?
I went home.
She lived close enough.
I do. I live close enough. I went home. So the place that I went to last weekend, where I wasn't on the show, that was a Legend Trips event with Jeff Belanger and Andrew Lake. Tim Weisberg, and I forgot what the final guy was. Matthew Moniz, that's it.
So there's only a handful of you?
There were about 50 of us.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
But, okay, yeah, that sounds like a lot. You're sitting there like, oh, wow, 50 investigators. What these are, Legend Trips is an event where you pay for a ticket to go into these haunted locations. And all the proceeds go to these haunted locations to fix, to keep them open, basically. And in the case, they've raised over $30,000 doing this in the past few years. And, for example, Fort Tabor, which is in, I think it's New Bedford, Massachusetts, was able to put it on a new roof from the proceeds they got from their particular Legend Trips events. So, Murdock-Whitney and Isaac Moore's houses are actually part of the Winchendon, Massachusetts History and Cultural Center. And actually the Murdock-Whitney House, and I say it's a house, it's actually a 22-room mansion, is not only the museum, but it's also the offices for the Historical Society. And there's a caretaker who basically lives in the mansion, although he apparently does have a actual place of residence, but he's there almost all the time. It's very haunted, nothing scary, but I got to do my first Ouija board session there.
Woohoo!
Now, has anybody else on the Paraview crew done a Ouija board session?
Absolutely.
Ouija board? No.
Okay. Barbara?
Not at any location other than my home.
Okay. Yeah, I will say I have not gotten scratched. I've not had weird dreams. I had nothing follow me home. And so far, knock on wood, I haven't had any negative effects from using a Ouija board.
Yeah, it's all about self-belief mostly, and you're thinking it's going to open a door to demons. No, you can doubles as a drink serving tray for crying out loud. Back east we had a group, a little circle of friends, and we would get together and Ouija for hours.
You can do all kinds of things other than just a Ouija board. You can talk to a candle. You can make the flame grow tall, grow small by asking questions. My mom and them would take and tie a string around the Bible and then over a pair of scissors, and one would have a finger through one of the eyes as scissors and somebody else through the other eye, and you'd sit there and ask questions, and the Bible would either turn right or left. So you can use all sorts of different things like that, and all it amounts to is the same thing as a Ouija board.
Yeah. It's completely intent. And so in my case, I had my spirit guides actually control the planchette. I didn't let ghosts or spirits, besides the spirit guides, control the planchette. Worked perfectly fine.
So the spirit guides were like taking dictation, as it were.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I always do that even when I use my pendulum as a buffer. Because you don't really want to, if you're a psychic medium, you don't really want to be actually going one-on-one, like toe-to-toe with a spirit, because there are times where they're not exactly trustworthy, they're not exactly great. You don't want them coming into your little area, into your aura, to sound more metaphysical, I guess.
It's like inviting a politician into your house.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you don't want that.
Would you believe one of those more if you just put the planchette on the thing, asked a question, and the planchette would move by itself?
Oh, absolutely. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I would also be kind of freaked out, but I think I would find that more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be more like, slow down. I got to write these letters down.
Yeah, really slow down. Almost like automatic writing, but it's writing itself. So, yeah, this was the last thing that I did the entire evening, but I guess it was very interesting for me. It was a first, so I'm going to talk about it first. So this was in the basement of the Murdock-Whitney House. And when I go into locations just like the Smith's Castle location, I go in without knowing any of the history, which sounds weird because I'm a historian. I like history, but being a medium, you walk in and I want to be as a control, just not knowing any of the history. And so I walk in, I don't know any of the ghost stories, I don't know much of the history other than what I did get told when we did our initial walkthrough by the docent. And besides that, other than a few dates and names, it was pretty generic, not a whole lot of information. So we're in the basement, and there's about 10 of us, and I'm doing the reading with a group of women that I tend to hang out with at every event for the legend trips. And one of them wanted to do a Ouija board, so we did it together, and we're sitting down actually on the ground with the board on our laps because there was no good place to do it. And originally we didn't get a lot of activity. We had our hands lightly on the planchette, really trying to keep as little interference as possible. And nothing happened for about the first 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is everything a Ouija board is said to be. And suddenly, something started controlling our hands. And it would just go in circles. And we would ask questions, and we would get answers, but it would be answers that are horribly misspelled, or just complete gibberish.
So essentially you were channeling Twitter.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it turned out what we were channeling was a 3-year-old.
Aw.
Yeah. And we figured this out because things were being spelled almost correctly, but not quite, like a little kid. And then when we said, okay, use the sun for yes and the moon for no, or a Y for yes and an N for no. And when we put down those guidelines, suddenly she was able to communicate. Now, I will say we are also using a Ouija board in conjunction with an ovilus. So, and dowsing rods. We had 3 different pieces of equipment going on. So, what was fantastic was if we got a yes on the Ouija board, we also got a yes with the dowsing rods. Immediately. Like, as our planchette would be going over to the sun, the dowsing rods would cross. And the woman was not sitting, she was sitting kind of, I guess, kitty corner from us, so she wasn't able to see exactly what was happening on the board. So that was really interesting. And at one point, we got the name Mira on the ovilus. So we asked if that was the girl's name, and it turned out to be true. And we asked her what the date was, and she said it was April of 1907. And we're like, okay, that's interesting. And through an hour-long session, we discovered that the girl was deaf, which, being 3 years old in conjunction with being deaf, you're going to hear word, depending on how severe deafness is, they're going to hear words differently than when they're spoken to them than a person with full hearing. So, yeah, that would make a lot of sense how she was getting the spelling almost right, but not quite. The other fascinating thing is that she identified herself as being an African-American child whose parents worked as staff in the house, and that she lived behind the house. And that when we asked her who owned the house, she spelled out Richard. And then Matt Moniz walked in from being with a different part of our group, he came in and goes, ask her if she knows who George is. And immediately it went to the son. And he asked, are you afraid of George? And it went back to the son. And these answers were in between long periods of time where she liked to watch our hands make little circles around the board. So there would be times for like 3 to 5 minutes where our hands would just circle, going from the M to the A on the opposite sides of the board, because she found it so funny that our hands would just go in circles wherever she wanted them to go. The other thing she really wanted was to play jacks. And how she spelled this out to us was she would start with the letter J and then go to an X. And it would just go from J to X. And we would ask if she wanted a toy, and it would go to the sun. And then we'd say, what type of toy? And she would go JX. Now, the interesting thing about Winchendon, Massachusetts, is that it's known as Toy Town, because a lot of old wood carved toys and a lot of the very old style toys that you would see from the late 1800s, early 1900s were made there. And one of them was Jack's. And so the mansion also used to have a huge collection up until last week, right before the event, had a huge collection of turn-of-the-century toys, one of them being, or actually several pieces being, Jack's sets from the turn of the century. So she wanted to play with them. And we informed her that they had been moved to the house, the Isaac Moore's house across the street. And they also have a Ouija board there, by the way. A spirit board, actually. Or a talking board from, like, 1890. But that's what she wanted to play with. And I don't know how, but in my head, I put the J and the X together as the game Jacks. Because I used to play with them when I was a kid, too. And that's how I put that together. So, yeah. That was the Ouija board session. It took about an hour. Any questions?
No.
Anything to comment on?
No. You did it pretty well with the Ouija board.
Okay.
What did you do after that?
Well, after that I went home. But because it was...
You're always going home.
I'm always going home. Well, that particular session, that was from like midnight. No, that one was from 11 to midnight. So, and then actually we did have a second session in the front music room where we did continue the Ouija board, but Mira was way too scared of being on the first floor in the area where the family would have been. Because for staff, it doesn't matter ethnic makeup. For staff that worked in a mansion like that, they would not be encouraged to be in the family living quarters. They would have stayed to the quarters of the mansion, like the kitchen, the butler's pantry, the basement, or their sleep quarters in the carriage house, in this case, or the third floor. And just like any large mansion, they had a back staircase, and they have that the staff would use. And they also had special hallways in between some of the larger rooms for the family so that they could work around the house but never be seen. I also say staff instead of servants because these people were not servants. They were paid quite well, from what I understand. So, and they had pretty good lodgings as well. So the third floor, where the video that we put up the links in the chat room not too long ago, if you go, we do have a YouTube channel, everyone. It doesn't get used too often, but we have one. So if you go to YouTube and look for The Paranormal View, you will see. Yeah, you'll.
Yep.
You know me.
Thank you. Yeah, I know you.
We have a couple of our shows put on there. It takes a while to download them. That's why we
it's a slow process, but it's a process.
Yeah.
So this one is named the Murdock-Whitney House, and it is 9 minutes and 20 seconds long. It's not edited at all. I just threw it from my camera onto the computer and onto YouTube. And I will be honest, all the action happens in the first 5 minutes, maybe even less than that, like the first 3. But what we are using is a trigger device that is a stuffed animal dog that has been rigged with a REM pod inside it. So its nose, its collar, and there's actually lights on its back that light up as spirit pets it, basically. And this particular dog looks like a basset. Well, it's said to look like a basset hound. I think it looks like a beagle. We'll let our listeners decide what it looks like. But it's also rigged with a alarm sound that would go off. And we were in a different room initially when we heard the alarm sound. And I kept hearing the sound come on and on and on. And I'm like, what is this alarm sound? I had no idea how it was set up, by the way. I just kept hearing this alarm. And I walk into the chapel room, which is the room that this takes place in. It's a fully wood-paneled room. And this dog is just completely lit up like a Christmas tree. And that's when I put my camera down, put it on record, and pointed a flashlight at it. And I will say the camera is about 10 feet, 15 feet away. I'm a horrible judge of distance, honestly. And I did zoom in on it a little bit. But it's about 15 feet away. And it's just my flashlight pointed at it so you can see what the dog looked like, because you can see everything light up. And we had asked questions and it would light up. We made sure it wasn't our cell phones triggering it. We made sure it wasn't my iWatch triggering it. And it just kept going on. And it wasn't just our group. It continued on like this for the rest of the night. Not for every group that would visit, but for our group and I think one other. There were 4 groups in the entire trip between a 22-bedroom mansion and then an entire separate house across the street. So it was fascinating. I'd never seen one of these work. Well, people have put them out before, but I've never seen actual interaction with it.
They had one over at the Gettysburg Gathering.
They are very popular. They are not cheap, though.
No, they were not cheap. That's why you won't see me with one.
Yeah. Yeah, they're $165 a pop.
Yep.
The dogs? The
Yeah.
dog toy?
Yep.
Yeah, that dog toy.
Yep.
So,
Get Teddy Ruxpin, he'll, start cursing and spin his head.
oh, no, that will creep me out. If you want me to leave a place, just hook up a Teddy Ruxpin, actually just a Teddy Ruxpin. You don't have to do anything special to it. Just stick a
Really?
tape in it. Those things freaked me out. I would
Really?
go running, yes.
I have to see one. I've never seen one.
I never owned one, but I always wanted one and then later I found out if you put, it's one thing to have the regular tapes that came with it where he would tell stories and such, but if you put in a music cassette, it would sing with the song. It would play the song and his lips would move like he's singing.
Yeah, that creeped me out. I was just like, no. Even as a little kid. I never had one, but friends of mine would. And I will also take the time right now to say, if you have any questions for us, you can always private chat them to Cat co-host, who is me, Henry Foister, Jeffrey Gould, or Ceiling Cat.
And we will get those answered.
And we'll answer them because it's
Or
interesting.
we will fake it.
Why would you fake it?
Seriously.
Why? We're a paranormal radio show. I don't want to fake anything. There's not enough scrutiny as it is.
Well, if you ask me, is it daylight out? I can't see.
The answer would be no, because it's 9 p.m.
Now
It
I
is
suddenly
not
really
on the
wanna
West
be-
Coast.
I really want to be in an investigation with both of you and have a full body apparition come over carrying a Teddy Ruxpin and see which of you gets out first.
I'm going to be pushing Henry out of the way.
Probably would,
That
yes.
will be the only time. Most of the time it's Henry. He takes a beeline. He's like, I'm out. He comes up with an excuse. He's like, I'm going to leave the room first.
Well, when
And then he
we
just wobbles out.
when we was out at the Purple County Historical Society in the barn, they had a basement. Of course, they had lights on down there, but Carrie went down the basement by herself.
You?
No, I told her. I said, "You go ahead and go." So she went in the basement.
Did anything happen?
No.
See, it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I was perfectly
What's
fine
wrong with
anyway.
How many times have I posted photos on the Paranormal View page with an abandoned house or something with a big caption? Would you spend the night in this house? I'm like, yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
As long as I'm with somebody.
Cater response: if a full body apparition appears, Henry will push Cat in front and run away. Yes, I believe that has kind of sort of happened.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, Meanwhile, at the mansion, I'm trying to get myself locked into a closet where people have sworn they've gotten scratched, and as I'm trying to enter said closet, that's when the alarms went off on the dog.
Oh.
So,
Telling
yeah,
you, don't go in there.
Yeah, but yeah, it was very interesting. I will definitely go back. And from what I understand, this is the second time I think Legend Trips themselves have done an event, but they've visited other times. Privately, like Jeff would visit or Tim would visit. Yeah, it's a very active place. One of the things that is said to happen is there's a grumpy old woman who will stand on basically where the stairs end on the second floor, which are the family bedrooms, and people will see her pace from the stairs over to what would have been Murdoch's mother-in-law's room and back. Oh, and that reminds me of something else. In Murdoch's mother-in-law's room, it's a really long title, isn't it? Especially since I can't remember her name. There's a huge lace canopy bed. It's a very beautiful room. It looks very French, kind of Rococo-ish, Victorian-ish mixed together. And most of the stuff that is in there is original to the house. except for one dress. And mind you, I had never been in there before. And I walk in and everything is white or pink except for this dress is dark red and black. And I'm like, well, that's weird. First off, in my head, I noticed as a, stylistically, that's really off. Why would you put an all-black dress in an all-white room? But as one of the investigators with me also had an ovilus and a K2 meter. And it kept spiking whenever we talked about the dress. The K2 started spiking to red, but if we switched the topic away from the dress, it would go down to blue. And finally, just through, like any investigator, through questions, just answering, or just asking a bunch of closed-ended questions, yes or no questions, we came to the discovery that the dress was not from the house. And the woman, the mother-in-law, whose room it was, felt that it did not belong in the house and that it wasn't good enough to be in the house. It was very bizarre. And I'm going to have to mention that I'm a dork and not exactly always the most observant thing, because later one of the other investigators found a name tag attached to the dress. It had been kind of tucked in the back. But it's true, the dress was not from the house. It was from a different family that was prominent in Wichita. And, it wasn't part of the house estate at all. It was just donated and put into the museum.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So you got that done.
Yep. I got that done. I don't really know how to take that, but I got it done, Henry. I figured it out. I figured out what the dead were trying to tell me. I have more stories, but as you mentioned in our messenger, it is break time, and I have stories from the Isaac Moore's house after the break.
Sounds good. And if we have time a little later, I will try and play a few EVPs, but cat stories do tend to fill up the whole show, so we may not get those done.
Long-winded.
I didn't say that. I just said you had a lot of stories.
Yes, I try to be a descriptive, but at least they're not full of hot air.
Jeff, you will take us out, and I'll bring us back. How's that sound?
That sounds good. Well, you're listening to the Paranormal View on para-x.com with hosts Henry Foister, Cat Cloco, back in the house, Ceiling Cat Barbara Duncan, and myself, Jeffrey Gould. So stay tuned for more Paranormal View after the break.
Whoop, whoop.
And welcome back, everybody, right here to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network. Tonight we have with us Cat Cloco.
Hello.
Barbara Duncan.
Howdy.
And Jeffrey Gould.
Hello.
Barbara's mic got stuck. But now that you've got it unstuck, I'm sure we have listeners from all around the world, don't we?
We got them in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Singapore.
And others not on there?
I don't see unknown, but maybe he's watching the Olympics too.
He might be watching incognito, huh?
Could be.
Oh, okay. We was talking about Kat and her investigations that she was on this past weekend.
Yep.
She got to go on more than I did.
You went on 2 and I went on 2.
What 2 did I go on?
You went to Preble, and you also went to Gettysburg.
Oh, well, yeah.
What do you mean, oh, yeah, well? Gettysburg's like, what is it? The most haunted location in the entire United States. The last time you were there in April, you saw your first shadow people.
What wasn't it? Was it a shadow? No, it was the soldiers smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I don't know how you saw them, but you still saw like basically.
I just saw the little
apparition.
red dots. I didn't see the people.
Yeah.
You saw entities.
I
didn't see entities. I just seen a little red dot.
But that's
what entities had.
Oh, well. I saw a ghost cigarette, put it that way.
Yeah, you
There
saw
you
a
go.
ghost cigarette.
Okay.
Yeah, proof it'll kill you.
Yeah, it actually will.
Oh. All right, Kat.
They're dead. They can enjoy it, though.
Tell us some more stories.
All right. So the second location at the Legend Trips event was the Isaac Morris house, and this house was built in 1790 by what was it? What is his name? Sorry, I'm looking it up very quickly. Roger Ruggles, who was an architect. And Isaac Morris lived in the house with his 10 children and his first wife, Miriam Spofford, and then later with an additional 5 other children with his second wife, Frances Stevens. So this house was full, and it's not quite as big as the Murdock-Whitney House. It sits right across the street. It does have 10 rooms and 5 fireplaces, however. And currently, the Historical Society is adding a soda fountain in the back area of the house and will sell old-style candy. So you can go there for ice cream and some vintage candy, not this summer, but probably next summer. And the soda jerk that they got, the countertops and everything, are from a diner that is in Wichita that ended up getting... They saved the countertops from the soda fountain, but the soda fountain has since been demolished. So they got all the furniture, but they couldn't save the actual building. It's very interesting, though, and I'm looking forward to when it opens up as basically a soda fountain and toy museum. So all the original toys that were in the Murdock-Whitney house were moved about 2 weeks ago now to the Isaac Morris house. And as I said, that includes a Ouija board. And with all of those toys also came along all these child spirits, in addition to a few spirits that the house seemed to have, including a suicide victim, which I did not pick up on, so I have no stories about him. However, I did see an apparition in the house. It's in the original portion in front of the fireplace on what would be the north side of the building. I'm walking through. It was around, let's see, that one had to have been the 9 to 10 p.m. slot when I was there. And I'm just walking around, and I thought somebody was in the room with me, actually ahead of me, and was... Let me describe the layout of the room. So the room has a bunch of display cases, and there's a display case along the left-hand wall. There is a door that leads to, I guess, the kitchen, and then there is display cases running against the other 3 walls, and these are half-size display cases that only go up to about your waist, and they're full of toys. And then there is basically a floor-to-ceiling high display case with larger toys and other objects in there. And from basically what it looked like was somebody was walking in front of me and making a turn to go on the other side of the room, and I could see their shoulder and their back and their leg as they made this turn around this gigantic display case. And I quickly just kind of, in my head, I knew that Jeff Belanger was in the house, as well as the other members I was with, and there was about 10 of us in total, but I knew everyone was accounted for because they were behind me. I was the first one walking into the room. So I immediately speed up to see who's behind this display case, because it is a floor-to-ceiling display case, and you also can't see to the other side of the room because there's a backing. No one was there. And when the rest of the group got in, I was just like, is everyone accounted for? Was there anyone else in the room? And we look around the house, everyone was accounted for, no one suspicious was in the house. So the only conclusion I can come up with is that I saw an apparition. Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, I'm looking and I'm not finding any direct links to the Isaac Morris house on search engines.
Yeah, it just was acquired out of private hands to the Wichita History and Culture Center. So if you go to the town of Wichita History and Culture Center, they will have some information on it. There isn't a lot, but it was basically, it was, like I said, Isaac Morris, his family actually owned the property, it looks like, until 1939, and then it was turned over to the History Center this year. So it's been in private hands this entire time. It used to be apartments, and then before being turned over to the city. So that's why. So just go to the Wichita History Center website. They should have some stuff about that. Oh, let's see. And we got a question from Jeff in Australia.
All right.
Hey, Jeff Dean.
So Jeff asks, greetings, Earthlings. Regarding Kat's Ouija board session, did she happen to record the session with a digital recorder while experimenting online with Ouija board videos from trusted sources? I occasionally find EVP matching the answer given by the planchette. Best regards, Aussie Jeff. Yes, Jeff, I did record the entire thing. I just can't find the recorder.
And again, with Kat, that is normal.
That is normal for things. Just the spirits basically hide the recorder.
And if you ask Kat, she still probably has locations that we've been to that she has not listened to stuff yet.
That is true.
Yeah.
But the stuff that would be stuff from years ago now. I did listen to all of our Gettysburg stuff. The Ouija board, I would listen to that section of EVP because there were so few people in the room with us. I could determine that the audio would be clear enough to catch something.
Right.
In other places, it wouldn't be so clear because, like I said, there was 50 other people at the event. So sometimes you'll hear people randomly shuffling around or talking. Though I will say the people I was teamed up with were very good investigators. They knew to tag everything. They never whispered. If they moved, they announced it. They were great to work with. So I would work with them again. But I will look up when I find it, I will let you know if I got any EVP. The thing that I wish I had done was video recorded our Ouija board session as well. So I had no tripod with me, so I couldn't put the camera up anywhere. That was the problem.
Okay, then that's everything now?
That's the bulk of the stories. Yeah. I don't really have any others that are coming to mind at the moment.
Barbara should have a ton of questions by now, then. If she unmutes her mic.
Not really.
Oh, no. I'm trying to make sure that people understand you're not dead, that you're still with us.
Well, I might be dead. This might just be a long EVP.
Oh wow.
Very Class A.
I am recording, just remember, I'm recording.
It's a classy Class A.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, well, I guess I can play a few of the EVPs that I got from around. So you can get your headphones out and turn your sound up so you can really hear it good. Some of them's kind of low. You may not be able to hear it, but we will try and see what we can do. So hopefully you'll be able to hear some of it. I think this one here was in Gettysburg when we were at the McClellan headquarters. And I'll play the first part that I had where Carrie and Kat are talking about they heard the gunshot, and then I'll play an amped version of just the gunshot. And it's kind of quick, but you can hear it hopefully. I could hear it listening to it on with my headsets and the sound on. But we'll try it and see if you'll be able to hear it. So we'll give it a shot here. Hint, hint.
heard a gunshot.
Now, it was right before they started talking. It's real quick. It's like a poof, real quick. So listen again to it, and then I'll play the amped version.
We just heard a gunshot.
Could you guys hear it? Just a little quick, poof, real quick like? Nobody? Did I lose everybody? Is anybody left? Something's happened to Skype here, huh? Hold on, we're trying to get the call back. I don't know why. Can anybody hear it in the chat room? Because I'm not getting anything. Looks like I lost everybody. Can you hear me in the chat room? Have I lost everything? Am I not on at all? Oh, man. All right, let me try and get people back here and see what's going on. I'm now calling everybody back. Group call, no answer. Okay, who's back? Is that Kat?
I'm back.
And Barbara?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said they weren't hearing anything in the chat room. Did Skype end the entire call or something?
Hope not. Let me look and see here.
Are you still recording?
I'm still recording.
Okay.
It is, yeah, I'm still recording. It shows that we're on and that we're streaming.
Skype.
Us now. Molasses chat.
Yeah, I like that. Molasses chat.
Molasses chat.
Oh, Karen can hear us now. So.
Okay, thank you guys.
I have no idea what happened.
Skype.
Skype doesn't want you to play that EVP.
Apparently not, but I'm going to try.
The ghost who did it. I didn't sign a release.
I'm going to try and play it again, though, so to heck with them, if you know what I mean.
Cater says the words were coming out slow, so we were apparently very distorted.
Oh.
It's almost a shame we won't hear it that way on the recorded podcast. But
all right. Well, I'll take and play the amped version, see if you can hear that kind of quick like, and see. It's just like a. I don't know if you could hear it or not. I'll try it one more time. Because it's kind of hard to pick up just listening to. Oh, I was talking over it. Let me try one more time. See, and that was just a quick gunshot. I did not hear it. Kat and Carrie both heard it.
I haven't heard it yet.
Okay. I haven't heard it yet either.
Well, it's on there, but it's real low. It's hard to, some of those that's low, it's hard to play over the air to be able to hear. Let's see here what else I had. Oh, I got this one too when Carrie was up for the weekend, and I don't think Kat got to hear it. I did play it last week. I believe Jeff and Barbara got to hear it. We was I took her up to the Golden Lamb, and they let you go upstairs and look at the rooms if no one's in them, and they have plaques outside telling you what president stayed in what room and all the famous people and stuff. And I was down at the end of one hall, and it was President Taft had stayed in that room. And I asked a question, and I get an answer. So listen up. President Taft, are you here? Could you hear that?
I heard somebody falling off the call.
Who fell off?
Looks like Jeff.
Jeff.
I'll get him back on. Could you hear that, Barbara?
No.
No.
Okay, right at the end, you hear a yes. So see, I'll play it one more time. See if you can hear it. President Taft, are you here? Could you hear it that time?
No, I can't even hear the recording.
You didn't even hear the recording?
No.
Nope, I don't. I just hear dead air.
Wow. They are not wanting us to play anything because I heard it perfectly. So, well, let me get Jeff back in. And see what happens.
Oh, they could hear it in the chat, so it must be a Skype issue.
They did or couldn't?
They can.
Oh.
Yo.
Welcome back, Jeff.
Wow. Skype's being
yes.
really ordinary tonight.
I don't know if it's Skype or what it is. Let me try this one here then. The Preble County Historical Society. I'll play the one with the footsteps in the loft and see if you can hear it. How's that sound? So listen up. Can you walk across the loft up there?
That was quick.
Could you hear it walking?
I couldn't hear anything. In fact, I thought I'd been kicked off again.
Yeah, it's just dead air again.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I've got the sound turned too loud or something.
Or
You mean low?
too soft.
No, I turned it up, so that could be what the problem is. Let's.
Well, they can hear it in chat. They're just not hearing it. We're not hearing it in Skype.
Yeah.
So it's a Skype issue.
Oh, okay.
Karen could hear footsteps, and Cater could hear. Who wants to guess it's Henry's breath?
No.
I don't think that was Cater. That was
No,
someone
that
else.
was
let me try it one
All
more
cats
time.
said that, yeah.
I'll turn the volume down a little bit and see if you guys can hear it then. Can you walk across the loft up there? So you guys couldn't hear it that time either?
Well, I could hear that there was audio happening, but it was really ambient and nothing specific.
Okay. I can send you guys the file if you want to hear it, but it was plain as day. You hear something start walking across the loft, and it was in plain sight. There wasn't nothing up there, nothing at all.
Well, my cousin actually sent me what he thought was an EVP file, and I don't know if maybe it was the dual audio track and the second track didn't come through, but I played it several times, and I emailed him and was like, okay, I hear this, this, and this, and it was all stuff that he was doing. He says, oh, it's right after that. I'm like, I got nothing after that. There's nothing. So that happens.
Well, that was very very interesting though. She wants us to come back again. She's wanting us to get lots of evidence because she's wanting to start doing a thing in the fall with having people come in and talk about the haunted things that happens there on the property, and she wants the evidence. She wants us to come out and do a presentation. So we have to go back. She said, you're welcome back anytime. Come back, please. So we will. So we'll set all that up again sometime and get something else going with that. They're also wanting to go to Trans-Allegheny, and they're wanting us to do it like in March or something like that, because they gear up for the Halloween stuff during the fall, so it wouldn't do us much good to go in the fall this year. So we're going to see about getting something set up to go in March.
That'd be fun.
And then we have Gettysburg sometime in April, probably toward the end, just like
Yeah.
always. So
Trans-Allegheny would be fun. Who would be interested in going to Trans-Allegheny with us? Walk around an old, was it lunatic asylum with Henry and I and, who is it, Carrie?
Carrie, Kat. Both of them's already wanting to go. Matter of fact, they're the ones that's twisting my arm.
Yeah. But here's something for our listeners. If you're interested in going to this event, you can email us at theparanormalview@gmail.com so we can get a loose head count of how many people are interested. And if we have a large enough group, we will make it happen.
Well, what we're going to try and do is do the not a private group, but go in with a 40 people group, because it only costs you the price, and then you don't have to pay for insurance and all that stuff, and they only limit it to 40 people. So as big as that place is, you'll never get mixed up with a lot of other people, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like when you go to Mansfield Reformatory. It's so huge. You may go in with 50 people, but you won't see them again. It's so big.
You mean they never come out? I mean,
well, they do come out, but it's so large that you can be in solitary, and you're definitely not going to hear the people in Eastern Cell Block. And then the people in Eastern Cell Block are definitely not going to affect the people who are in the administrative wing. They're so far apart, and you're not going to contaminate each other. So I would imagine that Trans-Allegheny would be very similar. Cater asked, "Can't you get 40 people from here?"
We can if we wanted.
Just show up as one gigantic block and say, "We're here for the day tour."
Yeah, if you wanted to do 40 people as a private group, it costs you a lot of money per person. Plus, I forget how much it is you got to pay for insurance. If you go in like they're running it for 40 people, just a regular thing like that, then you only have to pay, I think it's $100, something like that.
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now. But still, I would like to get a head count to see who would be interested in doing. Yeah, they're on TripAdvisor. So, depending on how many people we get to respond, we'll see how we plan it. Is that okay?
That sounds good to me.
That sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at March 2017, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in where is it?
Weston, West Virginia.
Right.
Yeah, Weston, West Virginia. Yes. With Henry, myself, Carrie, like the entire group that goes to Gettysburg.
Pat would probably go. I don't think Craig would go. Might be able to talk him into it though with our group like that. So we'll see. Had a great time, and then the David Stewart Farm. Of course, I seen Stephanie. She was there.
How's Stephanie?
She's doing good. Of course, she was hollering at me again, says, "You can come back anytime you want." I said, okay.
What? You made her sound so naggy. She's not a naggy person.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, it'd be great, and we plan on going back to her farm for next April.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if we'll be staying there. We would probably.
I would stay there again. I want the ghost cat to come back.
I want the ghost cat. Well, Patsy, I think, is going with us.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm very excited that every single year we've been doing the Gettysburg event, we've gotten more and more people to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I love going out into the battlefield and finding the new places. And oh no, somebody got thrown off again. It was Jeff.
Jeff got thrown off?
Yeah.
I'll get him.
It looks like it. But it's fantastic just to go and visit all these locations. There's the place where our friend Tina, who's been on the show before, where she went. Oh, what was that hotel? Was that wasn't the
Fairfield Inn?
Farnsworth?
Was it Fairfield Inn?
Yeah, the Fairfield Inn. I want to go visit that. I want to go meet the grumpy doctor he wasn't grumpy, but the doctor that she ran into there, the ghost doctor, basically. Farnsworth House, which I think is across from Mr. G's. We have yet to go there.
Right. And that's also a bed and breakfast too, I believe.
Yeah, but it's also a restaurant.
Right.
I know it's supposed to be a little bit more pricey, but I would totally go there just to be able to eat food and just soak up the ambiance. And yeah.
And we have Tina. She comes with us. Who else was in our group? We had a whole bunch of people. Man, I can't even remember names anymore. We had 3 or 4 others too. Rock with a Shock was with us.
Yeah, we had Steve Shockley. We had his daughter Tammy.
Right.
We had Nancy Duturtre.
Mm-hmm. We had her.
Yeah, she was there. We had Tabby Cat, myself, Tina, Henry, of course, Craig, and Pat.
Pat. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel like we're missing somebody. There were 10 of us. Craig? Did I say Craig?
You may not have said Craig. Craig was with us then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 10.
Oh, Tiffany.
Oh, and Tiffany and Joe. There we go. There's our 12.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Tiffany.
Yeah. So, and Darcy. I forgot about her. Yeah. Darcy McGrath. She was there. Yep.
Thank you, Tina.
So we had quite a few people.
13. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll get more.
Yeah, we'll have a regular caravan going out on the battlefield.
Yeah, we will. We will. Maybe we should start renting a transit van.
We had problems, though, this year because some of the places we was wanting to go to, by the time we got to them, there was already 3 or 4 carloads of people at the places, so you couldn't really do much in the way of EVP work or investigating. Just go and look at the site. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very strange with Willoughby Run when we visited. So imagine this, everyone. Willoughby Run is one of these very not really
places.
Ever visited places, but it has a lot of Confederate soldiers there, the spirits of the Confederate soldiers. And we went there 2 years ago, and we had great discussions with the boys down there, I guess. And this year we all arrived. We finally got all the cats herded, and we arrive, and we're going to go down there. And don't you know it, right in front of us, 3 carloads of Boy Scouts get out and go down to Willoughby Run. And we're like, great. There's like 16 kids. Well, that's shot. So, yeah, that's what happened. Did I lose everyone?
Nope, we're all still here. I was just typing in the chat room.
Everyone went silent. I'm like, oh no!
Tina said something,
become the cat show. What have I done?
I know what she's talking about, so that'll be good too. Oh, we got Pirate Jim in the chat room. Welcome, and I haven't seen him for a while. So we got quite a few people in right now, so
yay.
That's good.
So for our listeners, if you're interested in either the Trans-Allegheny trip or the Gettysburg trip, Trans-Allegheny will be March of 2017. Gettysburg will be late April of 2017. Please email us at theparanormalview@gmail.com. I will put you on a little mailing list for updates. How about that? We will plan this.
Sounds good, because they're wanting us to, I know Carrie wants us to get a date set for it so she can put it on her calendar, because she said she's going to be there.
I wouldn't mind going out on a date.
You like dates, do you?
Well, I haven't been on a date in years, really. So.
I'm in a date.
You're in a date? Right now?
No, a date.
Either
like dates, like
fig.
prunes, dates.
Eating? Oh, okay.
Never mind. So, I tried. But yeah, it should be good. It'll grow. If we do get the dates out, and you want to go, you need to book a hotel room early because yes, they fill up very quick.
They do. So we need to come up with an available date for everyone, and then announce it. And that's why I would like people to email us at theparanormalview@gmail.com so I can put you on basically a newsletter list just for the trips. I will not spam you with anything else, just updates. So I can say like, hey, we're going to do it April. We usually do it like April, late April.
Late April, yeah, like next to the last week.
Yeah.
In April, so somewhere in
Let's
that neighborhood.
see.
And we're usually there Friday and Saturday. Sometimes we're there on Thursday.
Yeah.
Just depends on when we all decide to get there. But we will definitely be there for Friday and Saturday, which means usually we're there pretty much by noon or earlier on Friday. And we have all day Friday then to roam around the battlefield. And then we usually have a big get-together party type thing on Friday night, pizza and all that stuff. And
yeah, we have a pizza party on Friday night.
Then we hit the battlefield again Saturday until afternoon. Then we break for dinner, and then it'll be time to do the show. And usually everybody's hanging out to do the show, so we try and get a lot of people on the air to talk about their experiences and just have a good time. So
yeah, and then this year our show would probably be from Mr. G's.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I won't guarantee that it'll be there, but we were talking about a different location, and I'll let everybody know if we can get that set up or not. Craig knows where it's at, and it's supposed to be very haunted too.
That would be great. And I will say the pizza that we get at Gettysburg, that's Tommy's Pizza, is really good.
It is excellent pizza.
It's
yes.
excellent.
Mm-hmm. So.
And then on Sunday, usually I pal around until noon around the fields. So.
Yeah.
Like last.
Hey, Mr. G's
What?
Sorry, I was going to say Mr. G's Ice Cream has actually done 2 more tweets since the last time.
Really?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Yeah.
They mention us?
No, they were talking about flavors.
Oh.
Yeah.
We really need to talk to them about, promoting the ghostly aspect.
Well, if they're talking about flavors, they probably mentioned sweet, right? So that had to have been us. Okay. Well. Anyway, I know Kat didn't hear when we went in upstairs to do Mr. G's. He had a big barrel of tree limbs. And I said, what are those tree limbs for? And he told us a story. He's got one of the trees on his lot, a big oak tree that is a witness tree. And he had it pruned, and he told them anything with an inch or bigger limb he wanted. So he's got a barrel
because
full.
he does the reclaimed wood.
He makes trinkets and different things that he sells in his souvenir shop. Yes.
It's not just trinkets. The
you know what I mean. Yeah.
Are reclaimed wood from around Gettysburg, and they're fantastic. Everyone, if you go to Mr. G's, you can just marvel at the beauty of these tables, like I did.
Oh, is it sycamore? Is that what it is? Did I say oak?
Tina says it's
Tina
sycamore.
said sycamore.
Thank you, Tina.
Let me put it like this: it's wood. It's off a tree, so now we know. We got about 6 minutes. So you guys got anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up? Does anybody have questions out in the chat room?
Good thoughts. I just had a commercial call back the other day.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It actually surprised me because I got the message saying you have an audition tomorrow, which is normal. I'm like, oh, no problem. And it says you have a callback. I'm like, callback for what? This is an audition I had back on the 15th. And normally you'll get like an audition on like a Monday or Tuesday, and then either later that week or early the next week, not half a month later. So I was kind of surprised. So, but yeah. So I had fun. Got laughs from the clients. Hopefully that's either very good or hopefully it's not bad.
Wow.
So what I do want to note is, everyone, we're on iTunes in the podcast area.
Yes.
And if our listeners can go subscribe to us and also rate the show, it goes a long way for others who are interested in the paranormal to find the podcast.
Yes.
So I would like to add as many people to our family as possible, to the Paraview crew. So if you can go to iTunes and just rate it and
look up the Paranormal View.
Yeah, and you can also write a short review. That'd be fantastic. We really, really would appreciate it.
All right. Okay,
Except
Jeff.
iTunes hates me. I can never find anything on it.
Really?
It's like the most... It makes Blogspot look easy.
What you do is you go where it says podcast, and then you type in the Paranormal View, and it'll bring it up.
And then you can subscribe to it like I did, and every single time a new show shows up, and it's usually within an hour of the show closing, it will pop up with a little notification and say, there is a brand new episode of the Paranormal View for you to listen to.
Oh.
And you can be like me and listen to a bunch of podcasts while you're working during the work week.
All right. Sounds good. Jeff, we got 3 minutes, so you don't have to run real fast, but do it.
You can. Well, feel free to let me. You can go to my website, jeffgould.net, GEOFF2011PNV.htm. That's my Paranormal View hub page where you can listen to previous podcasts and see who our guests were. If you click on the date link, it'll take you to that show's specific report page. For instance, tonight we'll have links to different places Kat was mentioning, and I also embedding the video that she has in our new, well, not new, but our video channel on YouTube, which I will be continuing to put on our pages so that people can maybe go and subscribe to our channel, and then kind of get us to use it more. You can on Twitter. You can follow me at Real Badger, RealBadger. The show's official website is theparanormalview.com. If you go to Facebook/The Paranormal View, all one word, there we are. Like us. I try and post funny stuff throughout the week. Not just funny stuff, but weird, everything that's weird, creepy, scary, haunted, as well as sciencey. And on Twitter, I try and be really funny with hashtag games. So feel free to follow me. And if you're a really good-looking account, I'll follow you back. I don't follow back bots.
Jeff was doing
meanwhile, on Twitter,
All right. So you can find my stuff. Twitter is at CatCloco. That's KATKLOCKOW. You can also find me on Instagram under that account name as well. And I know on Twitter and on Instagram, I put up not only photos from my weird Rhode Island tour, but also comics. I have a brand new paranormal-themed comic that came out this past Monday called Spiritus Maximus. It is about vampires and werewolves ghost hunting for the spirits of human souls. And that updates every single Monday. And also you can find me at this year's Rhode Island Comic Con and at the Super Mega Fest in Marlborough, Massachusetts. That is October 21st through the 23rd, and Rhode Island Comic Con is November 11th through the 13th. Oh, and you can also go to my website, catcloco.com, for everything. It has comics and my paranormal and my ghost photography, everything.
And paranormalview.com hopefully is going to get a facelift sometime before long.
I think this is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Paraview Radio.
Barbara, it's about time you say something tonight.
Well, I think you can follow all the hosts on the Paraview.com page.
All right.
Go over, link up. You can find all of our information there.
That's right, including Barbara's Facebook. So take you right to it. With that, our time's kind of run out. So this is Henry Foister,
Jeffrey Gould,
Barbara Duncan,
and Kat Klucko.
And we will see you all next week at the same time. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And stay safe. See you next weekend. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network. Join us again next week at the same time for more of the Paranormal